The morning of December 1st, 1948, brought a strange scene to the shores of Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. A man was found lying on the sand, his body positioned against the sea wall in a way that suggested he had simply fallen asleep while watching the tide. He was dressed in a well-tailored suit, but all the labels had been meticulously cut out of his clothing. He carried no wallet, no identification, and no travel documents. When the authorities arrived, they found a half-smoked cigarette resting on his collar and a half-eaten pasty nearby. But the man himself remained a total mystery. His pockets contained only a train ticket to Henley Beach that was never used, a bus ticket, a piece of chewing gum, and a curious, tightly rolled scrap of paper hidden in a secret fob pocket of his trousers. The paper contained the words Tamam Shud, a Persian phrase from a rare book of poetry that translates to "it is finished." The local police launched an immediate inquiry, but the man had no fingerprints on file, and the dental records did not match any missing persons reports in the country. The mystery only deepened when the police found the book from which the paper had been torn, hidden in a car parked nearby. The back cover of the book contained a handwritten code that cryptographers spent the next 70 years trying to decipher, yet they never found a clear meaning. The man's face was published in newspapers across Australia, and thousands of people came forward to identify him, but each lead proved to be false. He was a man who seemed to have stepped out of thin air, with no past, no family, and no explanation for why he was on the beach that night. The investigation was not merely a search for a name. It was an attempt to understand how a human being could exist in modern society without leaving a single trace of his journey. Detectives followed every possible lead, even those that seemed trivial, in hopes of breaking the silence surrounding the crime. They mapped out every square foot of the beach, searching for evidence that might have been overlooked, but the perpetrator, if there was one, had been incredibly thorough. There were no signs of a struggle, no obvious cause of death, and no clear path of movement that could explain how he had arrived there. The police department faced immense pressure to find his identity, leading to a search that spread across the entire continent. They interviewed thousands of individuals, looking for anyone who might have recognized his distinctive suit, but every door they knocked on led to another dead end. They tried to build a profile, thinking he might be a foreign agent or a man trying to escape a secret life. This was the beginning of what would become the most complex, frustrating, and enduring investigation in the history of Australian law enforcement. The investigation into the Somerton Man is recorded as one of the most maddening challenges in forensic history, marking a period where traditional detective work was constantly undermined by the lack of physical identity. Now, Adelaide became a landscape of rumor and speculation. The detectives faced a complex web of anonymous tips, false claims, and witness descriptions that never matched. The transformation of a man's final moments into a national mystery is a study in calculated anonymity and absolute silence. Legend says the man chose the location not just for the view, but to complete a mission that would never be understood. He utilized the techniques of a seasoned shadow, creating a situation that would prevent the authorities from ever finding a clear motive or a single reliable witness. But he wasn't just dying, he was creating a permanent puzzle that would outlive the century. He knew that if he played this game, he would become a legend, a contingency plan that would ensure his name was studied for decades. He left the Tamam Shud note, a branding move that turned him into an international curiosity. He worked with total secrecy, preserving the integrity of his anonymous death to ensure that only he knew the truth of his motives. He left a trail of questions that forced the world to look for him, a path riddled with traps and empty promises. This behavior indicated a deep-seated need to control the narrative, manipulate the public, and maintain his position as a man who could defy the law. He worked with chilling precision, knowing that every detail increased the chance of mystery, but he was also cold, moving with a deliberate rhythm that suggested he had planned his actions for years before the end. He documented his existence in the objects he left behind, cross-referencing his events with police statements to prove he was always one step ahead. This was not a random or panicked departure. It was a clinical, calculated operation designed to protect his ego for a specific future purpose. He utilized his knowledge of communication to ensure the games were structured correctly, drawing on theories of intelligence to build a mythology that would endure the harsh scrutiny of history. The forensic analysis performed decades later suggested he might have even had a secret life that spanned several continents, making the puzzle statistically impossible to break without the final keys he never revealed. The world heard swirling rumors of his identity, but for the public, it remained nothing more than a nightmare. He maintained the case file of his identity with complete, stony silence. His ability to conceal his life proved that he was a man who planned for every scenario, including the terrifying possibility that he would never be identified. He ensured that his name remained a permanent, haunting puzzle that future generations would struggle to solve. He was a master of his own fate, and in playing this game, he buried a piece of history that continues to drive people to the edge of insanity. The planning involved was meticulous, from the way he selected the suit to the way he obscured his tracks. Every move was weighed, and by the time the police arrived, he had already become a phantom, leaving only the memory of his enigma. The investigation into the identity of the Somerton Man did not end with the first leads. It became a global obsession that lasted for over 75 years. Dozens of professional and amateur investigators dedicated their lives to solving the riddle, exploring every potential connection from the international shipping lanes to the secret lives of Cold War spies. The authorities utilized the services of specialized forensic experts and criminal intelligence to trace the evidence, but their efforts resulted in no definitive identification. The police also considered the possibility that the man was a foreign national, a theory fueled by the lack of domestic records, but this was never confirmed. The search for the man became a national fascination, with citizens flooding the government with potential sightings and claims from individuals who reported seeing someone with his distinctive profile. The investigators verified each tip, but they never discovered the man behind the persona. The case remained the most significant unsolved mystery in the history of Australian crime. Modern detectives continue to utilize technology to search for clues, including advanced DNA analysis of the hair and clothing preserved by the archives. They found potential leads, but they could not verify if the man had lived a life that would ever be fully understood. The mystery deepened as the years passed without a breakthrough. We honor the memory of the mystery and the investigators who dedicated their lives to this. The legacy of Dossier 59 is a lesson in the complexity of investigative mysteries and the potential for individuals to vanish without a trace. We are operating with a better understanding of the psychology behind these calculated decisions. We documented the full sequence of the mystery. This concludes our review of the endless search and the suspects who range from international spies to forgotten travelers. The search for knowledge regarding the man continues in the archives of history. The investigation into the Somerton Man remains an open file, a testament to the fact that some secrets are kept very well. We hold the memory of the case in the light of our research. The facts remain, and the record endures. The hunt for the truth has become a story of its own, woven into the fabric of true crime lore. Every generation brings new people who believe they have found the secret, only to find more questions in silence. It is a story about the power of myth, about why we are drawn to the idea of a shadow who can taunt the law. The case files continue to circulate, and the obsession shows no signs of waning. Each new piece of technology brings a flicker of hope, but the man remains one step ahead, his secrets buried deep under layers of time. We examine these failed attempts not to mock them, but to respect the sheer scale of the puzzle. It is a testament to his intelligence that he managed to build a legacy that remains untouchable by modern science. The case keeps its secrets well, and perhaps it is better that way. For as long as the man remains unidentified, the legend will never die. We have explored the archives, listened to the theories, and walked the paths of those who came before us. This is the enduring power of the unknown. The story of the Somerton Man is a wild ride full of dangerous turns that continues to challenge our understanding of criminal history and human mystery. It shows us that a single individual can change the atmosphere of an entire nation, and it became a study in the complexity of psychological motivation. We look at this not just as a hunt for a shadow, but as a giant puzzle that teaches us to be curious about how we define criminal legends. The truth remains in the records, waiting for those who study the facts. The legacy of Dossier 59 is a lesson in the resilience of human curiosity and the terrifying potential for mystery to endure. We are operating with a better understanding of the realities of forensic investigation and the impact of systemic pressure. We honor the memory of the countless individuals whose lives were dedicated to solving this riddle, whose stories are also recorded in the official archives. The Somerton Man legend stands as a definitive point in the history of international mystery. The world shifted in the aftermath of 1948. The archives are open, and the story continues to unfold as we look into the past. We remain satisfied that the investigation was as thorough as possible, but the mystery of the Somerton Man is one of the most enduring stories of our time. It serves as a study in how we define what is lost and what remains to be found. The truth regarding the individual remains hidden in the records, waiting for those who continue to search. We leave the story here for the next generation of investigators. Never stop asking questions and never stop exploring the unknown. The world is waiting for your discovery. The search for knowledge regarding the man continues. He stopped his work in the 40s, but his presence in the cultural record is permanent. The legacy of Dossier 59 will remain as a reminder of the fragility of the peace we often take for granted. We hold the memory of the man whose life was forever changed. His story is more than just crime. It is a warning about the choices we make and how those choices echo through the centuries. We have laid out the facts, the legends, and the enduring questions that keep us up at night. The case may be cold, but the fire of discovery still burns bright. As we move forward, let these lessons remind you that the world is bigger than we think, and there are always new stories waiting to be told. Whether you are a fan of history, mystery, or just a good old-fashioned crime story, the Somerton Man case provides everything you need to keep your mind active and your spirit adventurous. We have reached the final chapter of this dossier, but the book of history is never truly closed. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the sandy beaches and silent nights of Adelaide. You have walked the path of the investigator, felt the weight of the mystery, and seen the impact of a man who defined an era. May your curiosity lead you to your own great discoveries, and may your own story be one worth telling. Subscribe to Mind 74. If you reached the end, thank you for being the best adventurers out there. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a dossier. Comment below, if you were in charge of this case, what would you do differently? Share this video with your best friends and join the hunt. We'll see you at the next mystery. Keep exploring.